This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to my review of the Aftermath trilogy. And these are three books that released shortly after the Disney purchase of Lucasfilm, and with it, they depicted the canon version of the fall of the Empire, and with it, it's pretty different since this changes so much from what happened in Legends, and I actually read this book before I ever read the Hand of Thrawn duology, the trilogy's duology. With it, that also depicts the end of the Galactic Civil War, and with it, what I say is, I think that story was a lot better with it, because of having a lot more of a realistic time frame for a fall of an empire, although there is reasons for it in here with Palpatine's contingency plan. But with it, I still think this is a good story and it is enjoyable. It has some fun little side stories that goes on throughout it, like the story of Cobb Vanth, which eventually is brought into the Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett. There is also some other pretty big stories that are told. You get to see some crazy stuff with Jar Jar Binks and his fate. You get to see just so many other crazy things. But with it, looking at the main story, it still is a pretty good one. With it, you get to look at the story of Nora Wexley and her son and a few other people that she works with. And with it, I think that the story is well told. It has some pretty interesting characters. Probably the best of them is the kind of HK-47 knockoff Mr. Bones. But with it, he's still a fun character. Not as fun as HK-47, who is like a million times better than him. But still, he is an enjoyable character, and his death was still a pretty tragic moment. He is still funny, but he's just not on HK-47's level. And look at some other characters. It's interesting there's a character named Jag who is the niece of Sugi, who is from the Clone Wars. And with her you get a pretty interesting bounty hunter storyline where you get to see some characters from the Clone Wars appear like Embo. There's also a few other cool, interesting characters in it. And yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed the story they told with them and having her eventually go to work with them. It was cool to see characters like Dengar and others, and with it, I really did enjoy everything they did with her. They had, I believe it was Sinjar, who was like an ex-Imperial, and I think out of all of them, he's probably my least favorite, although he still is a cool character. And with it, then there is Snap Wexley, who is really first introduced in this, although obviously he would appear in Force Awakens. I don't remember if he was in Last Jedi and dies in Rise of Skywalker. His mother, Nora, who is the main character of the trilogy. And then finally, you get to see Wedge Antilles, who is another major character throughout it. But with it, the story is interesting and well told. And getting to it, I really did enjoy the story they had with it. Everything was interesting, and probably my favorite of the three is probably the second one with its really dark Order 66 like moment with the inhibitor chips. With it, you also get a story that follows Han and Chewbacca trying to liberate Kashyyyk. And yeah, everything in the story was just really interesting, and I think it was the best told of them. Although the other two are good, I would say the second one is probably the third one, which goes through the Battle of Jakku and everything with that. And that story is good. I just really like the really dark twist of the other one more, and with it, I think the story was just really well told. But yeah, looking at the trilogy, it does have an interesting thing with the Emperor basically having the Empire set to be self-sabotaged, with only the strongest going and surviving, and with that, it is trying to set up the sequels and the First Order, and it's kind of retconned to not make as much sense since he also was the Final Order. But with it, there's a lot of stuff in this era, like this, Bloodline, and some of the novels that are kind of good on their own, but when you see how they go into the sequels, they aren't as good. But still, I think that the story is well told. I do enjoy it, and I definitely would want to if I've seen these characters again. Although it is pretty unlikely for most of them since they haven't really done anything in a while. Although there are some that we definitely could see return, like Wedge Antilles, especially considering he's a major part of Legends. Although I'm not too sure if he is going to get that many more stories. But so I think it is all pretty interesting. I want to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments. And I'll see you all in the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.